1,000 here to weigh in, former White House press secretary, America First Action senior advisor, Sean Spicer. First of all, Merry Christmas, Sean.
Merry Christmas, Sean.
Hey, Merry Christmas, guys.
Welcome. And when you heard Elizabeth Warren launch this attack a week or so ago, you kind of knew there were going to be problems because everybody is doing fundraising to kind of be holier than thou and claim that she's never had a pricey fundraiser. Kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, the first problem was I didn't really know that there's such thing as a wine cave. I mean, I've heard of a wine cellar, but I didn't know there was anything called. And to your point, I mean, look, this is a bit hypocritical. Every politician has to raise money, and frankly, if they're going to have a primary about how they're, who's raising money and whom, with whom, that's really silly. I mean, this election should be about policies and the agenda, and it shows you that if you can't get on right now and talk about the policies, that it's going to be a pretty desperate election because the president's going to be running on an agenda of policies that have worked, that have lifted up families and individuals and businesses, made the country better and stronger. And so if the contrast is a bunch of people figuring out what bottle of wine they drank and how much it cost, that's a pretty good prospect for the president's chances of re-election.
Well, Sean, and you were critical of her during her last Senate run where you said everything that she's saying right now is because she wants a White House bid. And this goes along with that hypocrisy. I believe when she was a law school professor, she made about $2 million in consulting. And so now that she's going after Buttigieg for stuff she's already done, it seems that she's just playing into the flip-flopping that you've called her out on before, and we seem to be seeing this now in the presidential race.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, look, each one of these guys, I think, says stuff in the short term that will try to advance them to the long term. But what happens in politics is sometimes your words catch up to what you said a while ago just to get that extra edge in the short term. And Elizabeth Warren, time and time again, has seen this happen to her, where she says something to advance to the next step, and as she wants to go another step further, is haunted by what got her to the last place. And so her record, whether it was at Harvard or the money that she made consulting or the places that she's held fundraisers, is going to continue to follow her into the general election. But at the end of the day, I think this is why you see the perception that she has, that she's not trusted, that she's a hypocrite. Because people see through this that she's doing whatever it takes to get to the next step politically on the political ladder.
Sean, real quick, she obviously is also, she's faced these authenticity problems, as you suggest, when she might have gone a step too far with Medicare for All, with $52 trillion price tag. She was almost a front runner recently, has now been really falling down. Where do you see the race big picture with her on the left, Bloomberg, Biden trying to take the center?
Ed, that's a great question because the X factor right now is Bloomberg. He's running millions and millions of dollars around the country, not necessarily in the early 4 states, but in the Super Tuesday states. And no one knows now what the effect is going to have on that aspect of it, right? Because you've got Biden and Bloomberg running up this sort of moderate, pragmatic lane of the Democratic Party that's gotten very, very narrow. And then you've got Buttigieg doing very well in the early states. I think right now it's going to be interesting. The early stakes, I think, will shake out somebody. I'm still not convinced that Bernie Sanders may not pop out as the front runner. He can do very well in Iowa, New Hampshire. He's a favorite son. He won't do well in South Carolina. But then he's got the Culinary Union, a place that he organizes well in Nevada. So he could pop out of the early 4 states as a front runner, and the race gets reshaped in a way that no one's expecting. Absolutely.
Well, 2019 was a big year. All kinds of big stories, obviously, Nicole in the news. But Sean Spicer on Dancing with the Stars might have been one of the biggest.
Well, that's great. I've got to figure out what's next. I've ruled out The Voice. My wife says The Bachelor's a no-go. So I don't know.
Maybe reality TV is in your future.
Yeah,
we'll
shall see. Sean, Merry Christmas.
Merry
Christmas. I hope you all have a safe, blessed one. Thank you.
You too. All right, what would a Fox and Friends